audio seems to work. Can you hear me?
Yes, it can.
Ha, great, perfect. I made it.
Oh, oh, awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview.
Yeah, you're welcome, always.
Well, it's great to be able to talk to you. As a longtime fan of the band, this is an interview I've always wanted to do, and no better time to be able to talk to you than be able to talk about the brand new album, The Coral Tombs, coming out in just a few weeks now through Napalm Records.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty much excited. I can tell you. We just rehearsed last weekend, and this was the very point in time when I held these vinyls in my very own hands for the very first time. This was very yeah, I was this was yeah, quite an experience to finally have it.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine how great of a feeling that is, and especially just like going right off the bat with the album cover this time around. I just feel like it fits so perfectly for the concepts that's going on. The colors that are being used, it just matches the album so perfectly, and I can just imagine in the vinyl version of that how cool that has to look.
Yeah, absolutely. Or the artist we have been working together for the third time right now. He actually is a. I like his art. It's not my super taste for cover artwork, but I always felt that he um, gets our music into a drawing. He's able to do that, but this time I feel he was just way better than he ever was before. Because when I saw it the first time, I was like, okay, guys, from now on, you're three guys talking about the artwork. I'm out. I'm absolutely pro and totally in for that artwork. Do whatever you want. We take that.
Oh, oh, that's cool. But to go along with the artwork, obviously to be able to match something that cool, the music has to be that great as well too. And I really feel that this might be the best album that you guys have done so far. I love the diversity that's going on. The fact that it starts with blast beats of all things to be able to start off the album, and then of course hitting those signature Ahab chords that I love so much, and the story being told. I mean, there's just so much to love about this album, and I'm just so happy to see that it is coming out in a few weeks.
Yeah, me too. From my perspective, for sure, I have a different perspective on that album because I I worked on it. It was not an easy birth. The first thing in the very first place, it's had been such a long time that we didn't record new music, so this was nothing we felt during creating the album and recording the album, but now that we have it, um, it's I don't know where to start. In these times where even people living in Western civilizations get a slight hint of of loss somehow, whatever that may mean. Is like you're getting older and older and older, and you see your time running away from you. And I'm very thankful we made another fucking album. This is the very first thing. I'm very 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 grateful that we made it. But the process of recording it was just awful, just to say it frankly, because we had huge mistake in our time schedule. And yeah, for sure, because I'm the drummer, I was the fucking clown who had to suffer from that. And I had to record the album in the very week that I took off for preparing for recording the album 4 weeks later. In the very week, I took 1 week off to write my parts and, to get into the detailing of my drum fills and whatever. Like, you're gonna record there. Okay, very well. Then I have again no time for practicing. I just go to the studio and play. And for that, I think I'm very glad it worked out so very well, because I was frightened entering the studio this time. Oh fuck! It's just possible to record it right now. This is the only window in time I have. These 3 days. It has to fit. It just has to. Yeah, and luckily it does.
Yeah, I never would have guessed it was recorded under those circumstances. I mean, it really sounds like there was a lot of painstaking detail that really went into your parts, and everything just seemed like it was so methodical going into it. But, it's just like sometimes being under that pressure and just being able to have like a very strict deadline to be able to get everything done in the studio and being able to nail those parts. I mean, sometimes it can really light a fire under you, and I really feel that when I hear your performance on this.
No, thank you very much. I think this deadline thing is something important in Ahab. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. But it's merely a deadline for, okay, guys, we have this idea, we have that 3/4 of a song, we have that bit of melody. So how much is it? Okay, half a year from now we go to the studio. Go. This is the kind of deadline that works pretty well for Ahab, I guess. For me as a drummer, I really hated that. I really hated that.
As a fellow drummer, I know exactly what you're talking
Okay.
about.
But if you're a fellow drummer, what's your opinion about the drum sound?
I really love it. I feel like it has this great natural sound behind it as well too. It feels like every note that hits was like meant to be there, which I really appreciate. Whether it's more of of like the more standard Ahab sound that's going on, whether you're doing some like blustering double bass sound, that the bass drum sound fits so natural on this album, and whether you're doing like those hard hits and the slower tempos with the snare, or you're doing the blast, like the sound coming off of it, just it sounds so great and natural, and I always appreciate
Yeah,
that.
this is exactly the point, natural, because there's no digital reverb or anything on that. It's just a ton of microphones in the whole building, and it's just the drums on the album are as I recorded them. No samples, no digital stuff. Some EQing for sure in the, but I probably pre and after recording, but nothing else. No digital delays, no reverbs, nothing. Just the natural reverb of the great building. So yeah, this is the very first time I have for my taste, the perfect drum sound. This is the best drum sound I could imagine, and luckily it's mine.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, with that saying, that who would have thought that the best sound for you, for Ahab, for everything that's going on is your natural setup with mics. I mean, who would have thought that in 2022?
Yeah, I can tell you what kind of drums I play, and I cannot tell you what type of microphones these are. But our technician, he's a super nerd. The whole studio is packed with old microphones from the 60s and 70s and everything. In my drum set, I have my bass drum is 4 years older than me. It's from '78. It's a Ludwig 26 by 16 classic
Nice.
kick drum. Yeah, and it's just the best piece of equipment I own, I guess, next to my snare drum. This old Ludwig bass drum.
Yeah, and I think that's why it sounds so good too. I mean, every time that when you have like a natural mic and you don't do any major processing on a bass drum that's 26 inches, it's just going to have that great natural thud behind it, and it's just going to have
Yeah,
that great heavy tone behind it. And you can definitely hear that throughout the entire album. And the fact that you are using something like that is incredible to hear.
yeah. This was, but this was the cool thing. When I was allowed to go into this studio nerdery, everything turned to gold. Like, because Jens, our engineer, he's just the coolest person on earth, and he's a very much the opposite of me. He's a very extremely calm person, but yeah, he's has got a great sense of humor, and he's just the best. We entered the studio, and the first thing when we went up the stairs, it's still in the staircase, he said to me, "You know what? 3 days ago, I dreamed how to record." To place the overheads, we're gonna try that. And he did it. He placed the overhead microphones the way he dreamt 3 days ago, and yeah, that's the overhead sound of my drum set.
Oh, that's incredible how that can work out. And again, just like having that deadline, the timeline, everything that's going on, just like being able to take something visionary like that and just being able to replicate it into the studio and having it work out the way that he wanted it to. It's just so great to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking back, the everything before the studio was hell. In the very second I entered the studio, everything was good. Because Jens was there.
So thinking about that as well too. I mean, obviously with the time crunch, being able to get everything done in the studio as quick as you could. Did you have to do like any major changes or improvisation or anything like that when it came into it, or did you have that good sense of what to do while you were in the studio?
Playing wise.
Yeah.
I read every fucking single note from sheets. I wrote 4 days ago, 3 days ago, until the day before the studio. I didn't play anything from my mind. This was actually my task to get this into my mind during that week. I had to record it finally. I had a music stand next to me, and every single fucking note on the record I read from my very own sheets.
Oh,
So there was no change at all. It was just exact from my mind to the paper to the record.
Oh, that's so cool to hear. And just being able to have those notes as well too. I mean, they can be so vital, especially when you're under a situation like that too. And being able to take those notes and being able to do your take on it. And again, just like hearing the final recordings and everything like that, it feels so perfect and seamless with the rest of the music. And it's one of my favorite aspects of the album is your playing on it, because I feel like you matter so much when it comes to the band's sound and diversity that really goes into it. And it's just a great achievement, especially on this album.
Wow, thank you very much. Because this is, we are still talking about Doom Band, and Doom is not very much known for extraordinary drum playing or something like that. So if you tell me this, thank you very much. This means a lot to me, because then I must have done something right, and even more, I must have done something in a very good way. So thank you very much.
Oh, not a problem. So, thinking about that as well too. I mean, obviously, like you mentioned before, you were able to check out the final. You heard the final recordings and everything like that. What was that like to be able to hear that back for the first time? Like hearing everyone's parts, the mixing and the mastering. What was that like for you?
This was a very very special night, because it was a party of our at the place of our guitar player Christian, and before that, in the same time, I was attending an Iron Maiden show, and at deep in the night, I arrived finally at the place where the others were partying. I came from Maiden, yeah, Maiden. And yeah, there were some guests, and it was fun, and we had some drinks, and some 2 hours later, the guests were gone, and we were like, so I have that big sound box here. My telephone is still charged. Are we gonna listen to the new record or what? Oh yeah. Fuck me sideways. Let's do that. By the fire, outside, in the woods, just the four of us and our merchandiser, who is sometimes plays bass when our bass player has family issues and stuff. So it was actually only the band outside in the nature by the fire, listening to the album extremely loud. And it was it was absolutely moving. It was like that typical special band moment when you are very close to your fellow band members, and you realize, yeah, we have achieved something. The very four of us have achieved something that obviously doesn't suck, because no one of us is like, we should have. No, we were excited about that, and yeah. In fact, there's only one aspect on the album, only one single detail I really don't understand why we did that, and it still sucks. It's the fade out in the first song. Was absolutely no need for the fucking fade out in the first song. I still have to figure out which idiot came up with this shit idea. I don't remember. There's no need for it, because there's a very we just rehearsed that song because it's more like a huge intro. It's not really a song, because there's if you listen to it, it starts with these blast beats and then atmosphere and then melodies and chords and stuff, chord progressions, but there's no single riff in it. No riff. So it's merely a very, very long intro. So in the first place, I didn't get why we should have that as the first single. But on the other hand, it's a very ballsy move to put out your intro of the record as the first single with a video even. And yeah, but I don't get why we have this stupid fade out. It doesn't make sense. And yeah, we just rehearsed it, and it took us 5 minutes to find the correct chord to end on. But it wasn't my idea, so I don't care. I'm not guilty.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I mean, especially the more that I listened to it, I mean, exactly like you were talking about, how it is just like a great intro to the album and a great intro track, where it feels like if that fade out wasn't in there, it feels like it would just go seamlessly into the next track. And I'm still surprised every time I listen to it that there is a fade out to it, because it feels like it should just transition right into the next track.
Okay, straight into the next track. This is a great idea as well. Wait, the second song is Colossus, right?
Yes.
Dum, dum, dun, dun, dweedle, dee. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I haven't thought about that possibility, but everything is better than this stupid fade out. But I hope it's the only stain that will stay on this record for me, because I'm very satisfied right now. I haven't listened to it very often during the last days, but now that I got the vinyls, maybe I feel something in my throat. Maybe I will become sick the next days. That means I'm gonna have Christmas alone. Maybe then I will sit there and drink some whiskey and listen to the record from my very great record player.
Oh, well, even without that, I feel that, again, like, this is the best album that you've really or gonna be releasing so far. It's the best work the band has done so far, and releasing that as the first single, I mean, that it really took me by a shock the first time I heard that, and I saw the visuals that go along with it. It fits so perfectly. But then the next video came out as well too, and seeing like the full-fledged video that came out for that was
Yeah,
that was
this is a really good one.
magnificent work, and it fits so perfect for the song.
Yeah, this is a very good one. I never do anything concerning these things in Ahab. My tasks are very different tasks in my band, so I'm always curious. What mostly these visual thing are Christian's ideas, and I was very curious what he made out in his mind, and then yeah, I was surprised. I liked it so much. Especially the second video with these stop motion thing. Yeah, cool stuff, cool stuff. But I can't say so much to that. My job in Ahab is nagging and uh, taking care of equipment and recording ourselves in the rehearsal space and nagging and more nagging.
Well, someone needs to do that in the band, though, to make sure that everyone is
Yeah,
make sure everyone's doing their parts and making sure that things are going in the right direction. You need someone like that.
yeah. It's the I think the major thing I'm nagging about, and it's probably kind of it rarely happens that I have to be like that. But the main thing I'm nagging about is like, guys, take care. If you write a riff on that root note and a riff follows with the same root note, please make sure at the latest the next riff happens somewhere else, because the music gets boring if you do the, you know, the open E string metal thing. If you do that all the time, you can impossibly do that. And but you know, in this I kind of trained them, because I'm like, ah, yeah, you're right, yeah, yeah, okay, let's do it somewhere else. So my constant nagging during the decades of nagging, yeah, finally have turned out to be something positive. 2 decades of nagging, yeah.
Well, I can definitely say again throughout this album, I mean, it really through the decades of nagging, you know, it's like I can really hear throughout the album, you know, just like the proficiency of the musicianship feels so strong through this album. Like, well, like what you're talking about, like hearing the root note and then having it come back somewhere in the song, and just being able to hear these different motifs, being able to hear the diversity that's going on in the sound, and you know, whether you're using different guitar pedals or atmosphere or a little bit of genre changing, or you're playing. I mean, there's so much that goes into it, and it's so important to make sure that especially with the lengths of the songs that you do as well too. I mean, you don't want to feel like you're boring yourselves at by the end of the song. You want to be able to enjoy it all the way through, and especially for someone like me, it's just like I love longer songs, and the fact that you're able to do that and hold not just my attention, but so many people's attention with these 10+ minute epics that you do really says a lot to the quality of the band.
Yeah, thank you very much, thank you very much. But this is the, yeah, again, you got the major point. It's as long as you don't bore yourself, I think everything is all right. And yeah, we take uh, very much care of not boring ourselves, because this is why would you do that? Because you know, you know that if you're playing music yourself, it's a lot to do if you mean it with the band. You are always busy with band stuff, but obviously you don't play fancy music that's on the radio, so you impossibly can you make your living of that. So you have to have a job. And yeah, and then needing so much time for something that bores me wouldn't be logical at all. So yeah, it has to be, yeah, satisfying. It's yeah, yeah, it has to have satisfaction, or why would you do that? Which other reason would you do that for?
Absolutely. So thinking about that again, you know, obviously with the album coming out in just a few weeks now through Napalm Records, who I'm so happy to see has been really promoting this album and really sending it out to people. And I've seen so many great things about the single so far. What else should people be expecting from Ahab in 2023?
In 2023,
Yes.
you know, besides the album, hopefully some shows. Shows will be, no, we have maybe, yeah, we have announced some very cool shows, but I'm not sure which are the ones I can talk about yet, so I rather keep my mouth shut. But a very cool thing seems to happen in 2024, which is, I guess, it's not official, but it's but I cannot talk about that. As no, I should not talk about these things, but I think you will take notice of it if things are official.
Oh, oh, sure. And of course, I don't want to cause any trouble or leak anything
Nah,
that's going to be happening with
no,
that. But
no.
yeah.
It would be never ever your fault. I was just would be the idiot. So, but I don't want to be the idiot. So I rather don't talk about things I'm not sure about, which if they're official or not.
Well, well, I can definitely say from that, I'm very excited to hear that, at least from the sounds of it, that these songs are going to be shown off in some capacity in a live setting. Because as great as this sounds on record, I can just imagine that, you know, whether you're playing one song or the entire album in a full setting, I imagine that these songs will sound incredible in a live setting.
Yeah, we had a few shows in November, and we played two songs of the record, and they turned out to be kind of the coolest songs in the set. And last weekend we rehearsed some more songs for the live for the live things, and we rehearsed another song, especially that we rehearsed this intro song, which will be we will see how often we're gonna play that live, because it's a huge intro, so we will have it on our release show when we will play for 2.5 hours or something like that. So it makes sense to play this on a release show, but I think we'd rather switch the first song. We'll swap it with another song, because the other ones are more songs. Yeah, and we rehearsed another song called "The Sea as a Desert," and this turns to be out my new favorite, because this wow, this was so fun to play. I had to be careful not to headbang too much behind the drums, because this was really, really, really cool. So yeah, this is probably a very playable album.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to hear that, and I'm so happy that a couple of the songs have already gotten that live experience so far, and now being able to switch things up for 2023 and beyond. And of course, always being able to change up the set list has got to be great too. Being able to swap out songs, being able to play different songs in that live setting. Add some shorter songs so you can get more songs into it, instead of having to feel like you can only play the same number of songs. I mean, there's so many ways to go about it.
We only have two shorter songs. I'm sorry. There's not so much space to swap with the shorter songs. We have only two, and one of those two is in the set, and I think it will stay in the set.
But again, it's just like that does help. And even with that, it's just like it's great to see that diversity with it. And sometimes even that just means having a couple shorter songs in the discography, and then seeing what could happen in the future. And just knowing that there's going to be stuff coming up next year and in 2024. I'm very excited to see when that stuff gets announced, what it'll be and what it entails. And it's got me so excited, and just being able to talk to you about everything that's going on in the world of Ahab right now. And of course, the Coral Tombs coming out January 13th through Napalm Records. This has just been awesome to be able to learn all these different things from you, and getting the insight into the album and the band and how everything works. And I thank you so much for being able to take all this time to be able to talk to me about all of it.
Yeah, likewise. I'm very, very grateful for everything, for all the attention we get, and so my wife's in search for her phone. Now it's like I just found it out again on these shows we played in November. We attract obviously such a cool auditory. I like talking to the people attending our shows so very much, because it's most of the time it's very, very respectful and very humorous and very interesting people. And sometimes I really cannot believe that these are fans of my band. So again, I'm very, very, very grateful for that.
Oh, absolutely. And myself being one of them as well, too. It's just been a fantastic time being able to talk to you, talk about easily what's going to be one of my favorite albums of 2023, because you're hitting all the notes that I was hoping for a new album from Ahab, and just hit it in strides. And again, the Coral Tombs coming out January 13th through Napalm Records. I thank you so very much for taking all this time to be able to talk to me. This is a tremendous honor. Once again, thank you very much.
No, likewise. Thank you very much.